In a galaxy far, far away, there exists a group of fierce and fabulous women who are on a mission to explore the depths of pop culture. They are the Galactic Gals, and they are here to take you on a journey through the cosmos of entertainment. From the latest TV shows and movies to a trip down the Milky Way of nostalgia, they will delve into the worlds of fantasy and imagination, bringing you insights and analysis that are out of this world. So buckle up, cosmonauts, and get ready to blast off with the Galactic Gals Pop Culture Podcast.
Hey everybody, episode 25. Sorry we were out last week. I needed a break, I'll be honest, with everything going on in the world and just being worn out from the week. I just couldn't. But we're back and I'm glad.
Yay. Hey everybody. I want to give a shout out to my husband's nurse at the doctor's office. I told her about the show, so hopefully she's tuning in. I believe her name is Chrissy or Christine. So, hey,
Christine. Hope you're watching and hope you enjoy what you see and you subscribe and share and like. So, that's
talking
great.
About the 80s. So she's an 80s girl. Yes.
Cool. She would get along with us.
Yep. Can't believe it's been 25 episodes. Golly.
I know. I think we started this in April.
We did.
And it's flown by. And 25 is a good season. I mean, it's like a whole season of like a Star Trek Next Gen or one of the older shows we used to watch. But we don't have Jonathan Frakes. I'm sorry. We don't have him here today. So unfortunately, but we do have a lot of Doctor Who news. A lot of it. I guess everybody knows that the Celebration concert has premiered. And I think it's really, I think the 15th Doctor theme, that was, it was quite interesting. It didn't blow me away. And we kind of talked behind the scenes. And what did you think about the 15th Doctor theme that was released?
It was interesting. I recognized the variations of the other Doctor themes in there. I'm not too sure about the beginning of it. you know, but I need to have, visuals to go along with it to see
Yeah.
if it fits, really.
I will say though, and I say that too, but does a good man really need visuals?
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear that song, maybe because we've seen the visuals,
Yeah.
maybe that's why we get chills when we hear it. But I'm not loving the oboe. I'm not loving that oboe that they got going on in that 15th Doctor theme for whatever reason. I'm like, yeah, just we didn't need an oboe. I think that, but again, you're right. We don't have visuals, and the Ruby's theme was kind of I don't know. I felt it was just too low key. I don't know. Again, visuals, we don't have any yet, and so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, like I listened to a lot of Peter's soundtracks and everything from when he was on, and I can just, every time I hear the piece of music, and when it comes to his theme, it's like, oh yeah, there he is being a badass, and that's what I like.
And I think on Discord, I said something this week, and I really do think this would be awesome if Trans-Siberian Orchestra would do a Doctor Who show.
I saw that comment. That would be neat. Yeah.
I mean, because some of those songs, I'm telling you, Murray Gold loves some time signature changes. He loves some rock signature changes.
Yes.
And I think that would be amazing. And I don't know if you guys have ever looked up cover songs of some of the, like A Good Man and I Am the Doctor, but you should, because some of the rock covers are great.
Yeah.
Very cool. And especially A Good Man. That's my favorite personally. But if you have time, just check it out. You won't be sad. You won't be sorry. You really want it. Won't ruin your day. It'll be just like, oh, this is awesome. But it is good to have good music back in Doctor Who.
Music can make or break a show. It really can. It's got to be the right stuff.
Yes, and it definitely wasn't the Whittaker era at all. Which got like a 5-minute section that I fast forwarded through. Honestly, I don't care. But yeah, it as a whole, it was a very interesting concert. And if you haven't subscribed to our Galactic Gals page, I posted the link on there, so get to it. And it is the link is in the description of this video. So if you want to join our crazy group, please do. We need more. We need more crazy people.
Yes, we do. Like, subscribe, and share, and join the collective.
Yes, please. Yes. Please. So I love this picture. Although it kind of does remind me of work. But this podcast is work as well, but it's fun work. So
yeah, I mean, if we could make this a living doing this, shoot.
Oh yes, this would not be work. This would be work, but not bad work.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Gary's comments on the picture there.
Oh.
So.
Yes. Okay.
I love the classy look.
I do too. It's amazing. Like, it's funny because like they're in space and they're dressed like the 1950s or 60s.
Yeah, but still, whatever. I mean, it's so classy.
It is. I like I said, I've always loved the pulp novel look to that kind of visage with science fiction and horror. 1950s and 60s and 70s, they had a way of drawing, and I wish I could. I honestly I do draw, but I can't draw that. Not yet. Maybe one day. But
yeah,
a computer drew this, so but there are people that can do this.
I know. I wish I could draw portraits too. I could see it in my head, but I can't get it on the paper. Yes.
Well, if you can see it in your head, that's more than most people, from what I understand. If you can see it in your head very vividly, then that's a start. So maybe, you never know till you try.
Yeah.
And the good thing about drawing something and practicing, you don't have to show anybody. You only are the one, unless you want to, which is always great to show people your art, because
I agree.
You're always your worst critic.
Of course.
And I've, what you showed me last week behind the scenes is amazing. Be proud of that. I think you're doing a great job.
I need to share that. Yeah. I did a cat last night, so I'll have to show you.
Yeah.
I'll just have to share
maybe we'll do like a fun, just whatever stream, and we can just talk about just art.
Yeah.
and bore everybody, but whatever. So this podcast stands with Israel. Just going to put that out there. I don't care. What's going on right now is atrocious with Israel and what they're going through. And, as everybody knows, Rabbi from Another Planet, if you haven't already subscribed to his channel, his two children have been drafted because, they basically, everybody in Israel, like when they become a certain age, they have to join the army.
2 years.
So, and they've been called up, and just keep him in your thoughts and prayers with his, and his family. And we're thinking of you, Rabbi. So just gonna throw that out there. I was planning on doing that last week, but again, we were out. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. We're thinking of you and your family. I hope you're listening. But anyway, so I think this was interesting. This is the I believe the cover for the annual Doctor Who 2024 annual. Which I feel like it's a little this is going to sound strange with the pink and the blue in the background, but I feel like it's a little understated. And I don't mean that like because the colors are bright, but it's very understated. Like I expected more for an annual. I don't know. Have you seen some of the other past annuals? Hand drawn. Some of them were like, I feel like this should have been hand drawn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Looks like it was like photoshopped on maybe or however they do it.
I mean, this is really the annual. I just and I think it's a disservice to whatever they're trying to do with his doctor. Like I said, I think it should have been hand drawn personally. I have no desire. This doesn't make me want to buy it. If it was hand drawn maybe, and it was like cool. It says what kind of content can they have for the 15th Doctor in the annual before it's even aired? Probably nothing more than a couple picks. I think that they're going to release it in 2024, which isn't. We're not going to get a whole lot, right? Yeah. But depending on when they're going to release it in 2024, maybe it'll be late 2024. But they should really say it's going to be later 2024, 2025, which give them time. Because apparently they've already begun filming his second series. Yeah. So maybe they have a lot more pictures and things. I don't know.
Makes me wonder, are clothes optional in the annual?
I don't. Yeah. No, no, the annual comes out the end of the year before. Okay. I don't. I mean, I just don't. It doesn't appeal to me. Like, it doesn't make me want to go, oh, I want to get that, And to me, they should only release it till after the Doctor's had his first few episodes, because I don't have any kind of like, I don't know if I'll be able to like this Doctor. Why would I want that? Yeah, it's jarring. It's jarring.
Definitely.
I thought this article was very, very interesting. It's Doctor Who David Bradley on taking liberties with the first Doctor. Okay. Why does that sound just obscene? I don't want to know. David Bradley has a unique journey when it comes to Doctor Who, from being cast as the late William Hartnell to actually taking on the role of the first Doctor. The actor, also known for the role in the Harry Potter films, first came to Doctor Who for the guest appearance in season 7's episode Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Oh, yes, that episode was so bad. Returned for the 50th anniversary docudrama Adventure in Time and Space and Time, to play Hartnell. He impressed the show's bosses so much that when they decided to bring back a version of the first Doctor, originally played by Hartnell, alongside Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor, they knew exactly who to call. Bradley tells Radio Times, I ran into Mark Gatiss last night at the National Theater and the bar afterwards, and he said, do you realize it's been 10 years since we did an adventure in space and time? And it just reminded me of one of the best jobs I've ever had. I still feel very proud of what Mark and everybody did in that, and just to be a part of it. Hartnell was my first ever Doctor. I'm that young. And so it was the honor. That's so funny. It's like, I'm that young that Hartnell was my first Doctor.
Wow.
And so it was the honor and the responsibility of being asked it when you're playing someone you are not only admire, but there's still members of their family around to either give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Unfortunately for me, they all said, "Yeah, you got Granddad," and I was so delighted, and it was more of a relief as much anything else. And he says, of course, the second time with Peter Capaldi, it could be a bit more rock and roll with it and just take a few liberties with it and have more fun with the character rather than focusing on the accuracy and convincing proper Whovians who know much more about the world than I do. And to get the thumbs up from them was quite something. I don't know if he got the thumbs up from us, to be honest, only because I personally thought he was kind of being portrayed as a lot grumpier than he was. I didn't really see a rock and roll thing to it other than him just going in there and really scowling a lot because I don't even really recall him smiling in the episode.
No, I don't think so. He seemed really stiff, but I remember when I watched Hartnell, he seemed stiff at first, but then you had to really look between the lines. And then you could really see
scowled.
it. You know?
I don't think he scowled as much. Like, I don't think that he was just like, he wasn't always happy, but he had a sense of wonder about things. And there was, I didn't get that, of course, in the portrayal he was doing it during the middle of what would be the 10th planet, which would be the very last of Hartnell. So maybe that was the reason, but yeah, he was so scally and just David Bradley is a phenomenal actor. And I'm not saying that because he's just a bad actor. I'm just saying that I kind of feel like with Hartnell, you have to show the warmth of him too. And I just thought that was just lost. Just to make some cute jokes and kind of make Hartnell seem kind of misogynistic, and he wasn't. Yeah. But he did say that, one still helped to make the most of the footage I was shown of the Doctor. He recalls just his way of looking and just his voice and that slightly, "I'm not quite sure about you, young man." He would tilt his head, and for me, he embodied all the best things about the character. But what particularly impressed me was he made the Doctor kind of curious about the universe and everything in it. Yeah, and I think that was kind of lost.
Yeah.
In that. But again, it could have been, this is the Doctor from the 10th planet. It could be like, he's much more hardened. And he's about to regenerate, which he's kind of resisting that. But I want this go. Okay. But Verity Lambert, I can't talk today, really stood up and said, "You cannot do this. You have to show it again." And it remains to me a wonderful episode because it's an introduction to all these characters. So then he goes on to say, like with Jodie, which, okay, whatever. Yeah, for whatever reason, my little scroller is just like, I have to click it. It's, always something. But yeah, I kind of feel like, not that he didn't do, in my opinion, I kind of feel like he missed parts of Hartnell that were just good. And David Bradley is a phenomenal actor. But I just did not see the first Doctor in him too much. His voice, I did. But as far as his looks, I'm just like, I obviously could look at him and go, okay, it's a guy pretending to be William Hartnell.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. What did you think of his performance?
I knew that it was, he was trying to portray Hartnell, and I thought, resemblance wise, they picked somebody as close as they could to him. And, so I give him an A for effort on that. I think he did pretty well. Like I said, I don't know if he was stiff when he played the role on purpose or not, but, nobody will ever replace Hartnell. I mean, that's for sure.
No.
But I think he did okay. He did okay. I like how you see the Doctor, the Doctor, when he first started all the travel and everything, he's an old man. Yes and no, but he went out adventuring. And by the time he gets to 12 and 12's like, oh no, you got to do this. You got to regenerate because you have this whole big, humongous life to live, and how that character grew from the Hartnell era all the way up to 12. Such a, major change in the Doctor as a whole.
And if you think of it all as a whole picture, like, 1 through 12, it was such a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a British institution, and now it seems very different. And I don't necessarily like that, but and there's people that people want, it to not to be the same legacy type of show. But I think that's what made it so great. Just like this picture here, other than minus, actually, I have that shirt, minus Capaldi on that cover, which I don't know why that they chose to left Capaldi out of this picture.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why the new Doctors are on there, because Doctor Who announced this major first for BBC iPlayer, which is they're going to, other than Earthly Child, which I haven't heard if they've reached negotiations on that yet, which we'll talk about a little bit.
Okay.
They're going to put all the classic Who on BBC iPlayer, which I'm not sure why you haven't had it on there anyway. It's a British institution, and why you're waiting to now to put it on an iPlayer, I don't understand. You have New Who, but you don't have Classic Who. It does not make any sense whatsoever. Other than an Earthly Child, because they're in the negotiations with Steph Colburn, who is Anthony Colburn's father, who wrote the 4 first Doctor Who episodes, and he owns them, which his son put out an offer. BBC, they rejected it, and or they didn't come back with one, from what I understand. And so apparently I've heard that they might still be negotiating. I'm not sure, but I just did some research on Steph, because a lot of people think Steph Colburn is a nutter, or insane or crazy. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's not a Doctor Who fan, first of all, but he does not like what the BBC has done to what he considers his father's legacy. And he wants to be compensated. He doesn't like the woke ideology of the BBC. So there's a little bit of a revenge type of thing here going on.
Yeah.
But I can't say I don't understand why he's saying what he's saying. Because the BBC has become just one big woke ideology platform. And so that's what's going on. So hopefully they come to negotiations. So because all these wonderful episodes can be viewed by new viewers that can appreciate it, that have never seen an Earthly Child, because not everybody that hasn't seen that episode is going to go buy it on an old DVD somewhere. And whether this has an effect on the Blu-rays, I don't know, because season 1 of Hartnell is still not out on Blu-ray. So hopefully that's not the case. We'll see. I don't know. But I can't say I disagree with Steph Colburn as far as the woke ideology of the BBC. And the BBC needs to pay, what they need to pay to get it. That's kind of how I look at it. And a lot of fans are upset because they feel like he's punishing the fans. And I don't think he's punishing the fans at all. I think he's punishing the BBC. Wow. And somebody needs to punish the BBC.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Yeah.
But,
jeez.
I don't know why. And this is one thing that RTD has stated himself, that he feels like that, Classic Who should be on BBC iPlayer. It's a British institution. And when Americans have more access to Classic Who than they do.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we have much more platforms to watch the show. And this article is just about that. But this was, I think this was prior to everybody finding out that Colburn was making a stink. So hopefully that gets resolved soon.
Yeah.
And this is not the TARDIS we get a sneak peek at, because we've already seen this and nobody wants its garbage. I don't know why they use this picture. This is like the worst picture to use in an article. Doctor Who fans think they've been given a sneak peek of the new TARDIS, because if this was my sneak peek, I would just
oh my God. That looks like they ripped off Stargate Atlantis ZPMs. The ZPMs.
Yeah, this is the yeah, it does. This is although that was better. This is Jodie's TARDIS, which has got the gigantic big crystal dildo in the middle.
Yeah, with a bunch of nipples. With a bunch of nipples hanging over it. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does.
God.
Yes, but this is not the sneak peek. We've already seen this garbage. So at the time, as the time passes and new episodes of Doctor Who grow even closer, fans have continued to do their Doctor-related sleuthing when it comes to snippets of the upcoming episodes. So far, we know a good deal with the new 60th anniversary episodes, including that classic villain will be making an appearance. How David Tennant's Doctor and Catherine Tate's Donna Noble could cross paths again and blah, blah, blah. We already know that. And the anticipated screwdriver of the 14th Doctor will look like. So this is just a snippet of some of the, I guess, the cogs and wheels of the TARDIS inside. So I think that's very cool.
Looks steampunkish.
Yes. So this is a good thing. You know, this is a very good thing. So I want to focus on the good things about this, and that looks cool. That looks Eighth Doctor like, you know.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So this is one of those good things about RTD is he does know how to put together a TARDIS. Although I didn't really like the grunge TARDIS that they put together, but I would trust RTD over. I would take a grunge TARDIS over what we had.
Cancel the crystal dildo.
That's canceled. That's so yesterday.
Yeah.
Now we have like cogs and wheels, and it looks kind of cool, like spacey and time, like time and space, and not like some sort of like crystal dildo, which is what we got. Time mechanic. Okay, folks, the reason I like Doctor Who in the first place is that is thought-provoking and actually challenges ideology. Oh, the irony. Yeah. It does. Sometimes, like, you know, I agree with the guy. I think BBC needs to be punished a little bit. I think they need to feel a little pain and maybe shell out some dough. You know, and he's definitely not a fan of woke ideology. If you look on his Twitter, which I did because I wanted to. There was a bunch of, you know, twats on Twitter talking about how he's a racist. He's not a racist. He just doesn't like the woke ideology being shoved down his face in Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly.
Join the group. Join the club. We don't either. What's the Doctor screwdriver will look like? Just shows you how much merchandising has taken over. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, I think back in the day, I think it was more about like, what adventures will the Doctor, you know, what will happen with the Doctor? It was much more plot driven. Now it's more merchandising and what the Doctor's wearing. Which I wish it wasn't that way. As long as the console and the screwdriver aren't from the remainder bin in an adult store, I'll be fine. Yeah, they would charge $89 for that remainder. $90, $100. They're not cheap.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You might get your wish. It might be that. I don't know. I don't know if that's your wish. That probably isn't one. The picture is in question is a selection of what appears to be dials, with many fans drawing the conclusion that is very well could be our first look at the TARDIS console. So one fan, God, when they go one fan,
really?
It's always going to be some like crazy theory.
Yeah.
It's quickly spotted that the console is in question was home to some Gallifreyan symbols. Really, no shit. Because he's from Gallifrey, I'm not shocked by that. While others quickly drew similarities between the TARDIS and the cracked look of the new screwdriver. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, okay. I don't know. These people. As for what they'll exactly be about, we don't quite know all the details, but we know that Neil Patrick Harris, blah, blah, blah. Okay. They always got to do this, like this blurb at the end. Like, it's like they make a deal with the BBC now. Make sure and Bad Wolf, you make sure you put that in there. You know, we got to remind people that, you know, this is what's on the way, which we told you 1,000 times. So here's some more Doctor Who news that is a good thing. I mean, this guy's name makes me laugh my ass off.
Yes.
Peter Hoar. It sounds like a southern, like Hoar.
Well, that's not how I was pronouncing it when I was reading it. I was pronouncing it whore.
He's such a whore.
Wow.
He's such a whore. So he's coming back, and let's see. I went too far. The directors for Doctor Who's 15th season have been confirmed, with regular Russell T Davies collaborator Peter Hoar returning to the sci-fi show after more than a decade. BAFTA winner and Emmy-nominated Hoar, who previously directed the 6th episode A Good Man Goes to War in 2011 and has also worked with Davies on his shows, is a Sin and Nolly. Also, there's also a rumor that he's going to bring Helena Bonham Carter from his show Nolly into Doctor Who. I'm not sure why, but that's a rumor. Will direct the second block of episodes for the season. Meanwhile, Alex Pillai, whose credit includes episodes of Bridgerton and Riverdale, that scares me, will helm the first block of the run, which will be Ncuti Gatwa's second season as the 15th Doctor after he takes over for the upcoming 14th season. The news was revealed in the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine, with Davies and executive producer Phil Collinson both singing the praises of the directors. It's an absolute delight to welcome Alex on board, said Collinson. It's my first time working with him, and it's already been so much more fun on the most ambitious ideas we've ever realized. Meanwhile, Davies said it was a joy to be reunited with Hoar after the work on its Sin and Nolly. The third time's a charm, he said. He's also famous and Emmy nominated for that amazing third episode of The Last of Us. After that, he would choose to work anywhere in the world, and he chose Cardiff. We win. So speaking to Radio Times and the other press about The Last of Us earlier in 2023, Hoar admitted that he would love to do another episode of the long-running sci-fi series, and although he said he wasn't on the cards at the time, but of course it is. When they say it is, and it usually they're like involved. It's like Moffat's now saying, when we'll get to that he's not coming back. Yeah, you're probably going to helm a couple of the episodes. We all know you are, Moffat. Just admit it. So, I don't know. That's interesting. I think bringing back the old team is always a good idea, especially after we dealt with a lot of diversity and inclusion, just hiring people because of the color of their skin and just because like they want to bring them into the sci-fi world when they've never written any science fiction at all. Mm-hmm. Just because they tick a box. So I think this is a good thing. This is a positive thing on, yes, we're getting a lot of mess with the virtue signaling, but at least we're getting some of the old team back together that actually know how to write sci-fi, and they know, and direct sci-fi, and yes. they're in that helm. You have Rachel Talalay directing an episode of the 60th. So, when you get the older people back, it's always a plus. Yes. So I think it's good news personally. I'm sure somebody can find something negative about that. Andy, stop calling him a hoer. Well, that's what he is. His last name is Hoer. I can't do that. Helena Bonham Carter. Well, now we know where the budget will go to. Yeah, I don't get that at all. Like Nolly is like a totally different type of universe. It's more of a drama, and I don't get that. So that doesn't make me happy if that's true. I don't have any proof, but that was an article that I came across a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, when do I ever avoid anything? I know. Yeah, I never avoid that. And here's the Doctor Who magazine. I think this wasn't from this week, but this was from last week. I kept some of the. I'm sorry, I'm lazy. I wasn't going to put a whole presentation together. But it's the Doctor Who magazine. They have the Meet the Meep on the front. That creature looks strange. Sometimes it looks cute, and sometimes it looks just really weird.
It reminds me of Gremlins.
It's like Gremlins and and the creature from Falcor from the Neverending Story.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they had like Gizmo and Falcor like got
Had a love
together and had a
child.
baby.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I've never read the comic or anything. I don't really know anything about Meep at all. But we'll see. I think it's cute. I think it's going to be the next like Grogu, thing. They're
Probably.
going to make a toy. Even though he's like a villain.
Oh boy.
But I think it looks very strange in this picture, so it's kind of creeping me out. So I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go, and this article is actually about God, the Dr. Falls.
Yeah,
and World Enough in Time, and I think it's really neat that Peter Capaldi is finally getting like some sort of praise, because there was a time where all his articles was like, he's the doctor that nobody loves. So I think I agree with this article. I think this is one of the better two-parters of his era. I mean, Heaven Sent, obviously, that's just epic. But I think this, personally, we've talked about it. I think this episode is amazing, because it has the Mondasian Cybermen. I mean, that was very cool and very dark and I think it's a good Halloween episode, actually, to watch, especially in the hospital. When Bill was,
that was
hiding.
creepy. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously it showed more of a kick-ass doctor, a doctor that's willing to go to war. Which, again, you hadn't seen that since Matt Smith in A Good Man Goes to War. And I really did like how he was willing to just to lay down and die, and just the speech that I think is very underrated, because people talk about the Zygon speech, but I think the speech in this two-parter is definitely underrated, and it definitely should been. I feel like I still feel that way. Even though I'm kind of glad Doctor Who's going forward, I kind of wish they would have just ended Doctor Who here. Because I think it had the perfect ending.
It did.
Him waking up, him, being revived and going off in the TARDIS, and for more adventures that you don't, and then they could have eventually brought it back. But I don't know. Obviously you're a Capaldi fan, but what did you think about this when you first watched this episode? Obviously you thought he was going to regenerate like most people.
Yeah, I was like, oh crap, but you see how much he cares about everybody that was on that ship, and that's why he was willing to go to war and battle the Cybermen and still try to rescue Bill, even though there's like really no hope, and to give the other people a fighting chance. And even though Missy and the Master were still evil, and if the Master wouldn't have been there, I think he could have got Missy on his side briefly. She was like right there, but the Master had to open his big mouth. I know they're the same, but because Missy stayed with him for a while, and he locked her in that prison and had to guard for 1,000 years. But I love the speech and doing everything, because it's right. It's just, it's kind,
Right. And I remember
what I get from him is kind.
I remember like right after this episode had aired, this when I first learned about streaming, before I even did anything like that. And I found a live stream where there was two coasts talking about it. And I thought, oh my God, that's the coolest thing. How did they do that? Now I know how they do that. But I was in the comments and they were saying, oh, they felt like his speech was kind of weak and not quite as, I'm like, rewatch that episode again and then tell me that you think his speech is weak. It's really not. It has the same passion. It's just, you know, it's almost like the doctor he's not giving up, but he's almost like he's just so tired of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is. So you have like in the Zygon speech where he's got all this impassioned, fire,
Right.
to fight. And this is what you're seeing the doctor when he's tired and he's tired of fighting. And he just wants peace. He's just
Mm-hmm.
tired of the crap. And I think that's very relatable. He's tired
Mm-hmm.
of the crap. He's tired of the fighting. He just wants peace and he just wants people to come together and he's just at his wit's end. And I
Mm-hmm.
just think that's, he's like, I'm just tired of fighting with you. Just listen to what I'm saying. If anything else, just listen to what I'm saying. He's pleading instead of like more of an infuriating or furiating fiery speech. It's
Right.
different,
Right.
but I think it's underrated. And I think a lot of people, because they expect that the doctor to be this way every time, and he's like, it's more makes him relatable because he's done. He's done trying to explain himself. He's just listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it one more shot to convince you, and then I got to do what I got to do, which
Right.
I think that's, and I agree with Gary. He said the concept of time passing differently at either end as the ship is great. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. That was really wild. Because it had to deal with a black hole.
Yeah.
And time would pass differently. So it's amazing concept, definitely.
And about 5 minutes after I saw the master and that get up, I knew immediately who it was.
Yeah.
And it had been leaked, but actually that was before I actually really cared about looking up stuff about. I just watched the episode and just went on my day. But I that's John Sim. I could tell through the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like how that was revealed. I did think that was very cool. How immediately Missy can't help herself. She's got to, she's going to side with herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was it's such a dark and very underrated episode. And, it makes me, it's hard for me to watch it because I know what's going to happen.
Right.
Like I know where this is going, but I have to say where he's like, using the sonic to I know the sonic doesn't it's not a weapon, but that was so cool.
Oh yeah, where he's running through the forest. Yes, and all the explosions. It's
yeah,
he was a badass there. Yeah, he was a warrior. You know, and that was the last straw. That's what he had to do.
It's kind of like it's not quite the same thing like the Time War or whatever,
right?
But you kind of get to see that side of the Doctor that I want to see with the War Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That you just don't get to see a lot of, that you just you get it seen in bits and pieces, like in obviously there's Big Finish, but other than Big Finish on screen, the only time you see John Hurt in the 50th anniversary special, you see him no more, and he's got some kind of machine gun, and you're just like, wow, or some kind of gun, and you don't see that side of the Doctor very often, and it's a different side that hasn't really been seen a whole lot. Which when you get it's exciting.
Even Paul McGann, when he was on Karn, it's in a little short, and he said, make me a warrior or whatever. From the time he drank whatever that stuff was to turn him into
from Karn.
John Hurt. Yeah, I want to know. I would love to see a story about after he drank that through John Hurt. Where is that? I want to see that because, that's part of his character. He had to do what he had to do.
Archer Collins says there are a few places where you get an understanding of what the Doctor is actually capable of. No more. Good men don't need rules. Today is not the day to find out why I have so many. Yeah. Like I said, you get snippets, and maybe that's good that you don't get it all the time, because then it doesn't make quite an impact. But again, when I do see it, see the side, I enjoy it. It's you see that side of Tennant and Family of Blood.
Yes.
Or the Runaway Bride, at the end of that, you see that side, that war doctor,
Mm-hmm.
that, I don't know, again, you get snippets, but maybe maybe if you got too much of it, it would just be not have the same effect. But
yeah.
Big Finish War Doctor Begins series. Yeah,
Okay, well,
they
I'll have
have
to
Big
find that.
Finish. Yeah. But as far as on screen though, like you don't really get that too much. I think we need a little more. I don't know if we're gonna get it out of Shooty, but we'll see. Maybe we might get it out of Tenet for just one more go.
I think we're going to, because that brief scene where he's in that, I guess, I don't know, where he's contained and he's like, why does it have to be this again or whatever, where he's yelling? Yeah.
I hope there's some more like of that side of him.
Yeah.
You know, after
he plays that very well.
Yeah, after what we had just deal with for like 4 years.
Yeah.
I think the Doctor needs to grow a set of balls again and be a man.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And of course, we got to have something about Peter every week. I just have to. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
And I love this picture. This is the only one time that I actually like John Sim. I like John Sim as an actor. He's a good actor. He's not my favorite master at all, but I think in this episode, I like this side of him. I liked his look a lot more, minus the eyeliner. But that should have never, got past the, the writer's room. But so gonna change things up a little bit. So I found this article that Rodney McKay wasn't supposed to be on the Stargate Atlantis. Here's how he ended up there anyway. So as y'all have probably heard, I've recently started watching Stargate Atlantis, and I'm on season 3, episode 11. So I'm not too far in, but I have learned to appreciate Rodney McKay quite a bit. His smarmy, sarcastic attitude helps that show so much. Without him, it would be lacking. It would be a horrible show, but he does add a whole lot to the show. So the first spinoff of Stargate SG-1 is beloved by fans just as much as the original, most notably because of the excellent ensemble cast that led the adventures off into the Pegasus galaxy. But did you know one fan favorite wasn't even supposed to be on Stargate Atlantis? The series starring Joe Flanagan, Tori Higginson, Rachel Luttrell, Rainbow Sun Franks, and David Hewlett, with eventually film superstar Jason Momoa joining the series from the second season through the series end in season 5. The entire cast was great, but arguably the biggest breakout was Hewlett's Rodney McKay, who starred as a snarky science officer on the mission, reprising a role he originated years early on SG-1, where McKay was basically a foil and desperate flirt for Amanda Tapping's Amanda Carter. And I love the fact that Amanda Tapping was on Supernatural, and I'm watching it at the same time. I was watching at the same time, and one of her episodes of Supernatural was on, and then I watched Stargate, and it was like she was on Stargate Atlantis, and I was like, oh my God, there she is. She looks different, but she's in 2 shows.
There's an episode with him and her. You are gonna laugh your ass off at.
Okay.
I can't say anything about it because.
So is it in season 3 or is it later?
Oh God, I'm trying to remember if it's season 3 or 4. Oh God, I'm trying to remember the name of the damn episode now. Grace Under Pressure. Grace Under Pressure.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Okay.
In 2004 interview with Gateworld, Hewlett discussed the start of the series back when it was first entering production on season 1. It turns out McKay wasn't in the original pilot or planned for the series. Oh my God, could you imagine? And that character was a different role by the name of Ingram. Sounds totally boring. Taking on the spot on the team. I don't know. Maybe the person had been good. He said, I'd certainly heard about the fact that there was going to be an Atlantis spinoff series to complement SG-1. And so I'd heard rumors about someone had mentioned that they might be interested in bringing McKay back. Hewlett explained. Originally, actually, the episode that we started with the pilot of the 2, sort of a double pilot episode, the character was Ingram. So for a long time, even with signs and stuff, we kept getting signs with Ingram. So, I had to figure out what I was saying when I was saying it often had the wrong name attached to it. So it was quite a last minute change. Wow. So you're like reading the script and it had Ingram and you have to know, oh, that's me. God. Hewlett went on to explain that reprising the role of McKay turned out to be a blessing in disguise, as it was at least a returning character fans knew who could provide some connective tissue between the older series and the new one. But it doesn't mean it wasn't a bumpy ride getting it established with the character off being McKay being written into the series at the last just minute. There was definitely some changes made from the script that I read originally. Basically, I actually ended up auditioning for the role when it was Ingram. So I actually came in and read as Ingram thinking, oh, it's too bad that isn't McKay. So he was going to play a completely different character. I mean, if they would...
He is McKay through and through. There's nobody else that can pull
so
him
that
off.
would have been weird. It's like, it's a fan. You're like, wait a minute. I'm confused. Because McKay was just so much fun to play, he said. And then I know that Robert Cooper was the one who originally brought McKay to Stargate, and I know that he was a big champion for that. And the people who were working for her are just great, a great bunch. They remember people and they like to bring people back. So Stargate Atlantis ran from 2004 to 2009 on Sci-Fi for 100 episodes. I don't know why I thought that was on a different network, but it was on Sci-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm surprised it lasted 5 years on Sci-Fi. Don't tell me that this is going to end where it doesn't end. If you tell me that tell me that there is an ending to this. Because if it's like Dark Matter, I don't know.
No.
Okay.
They left it open to, they could go back and make a movie. Or there's a book series, and the books have actually picked up on where the show ended.
Okay.
So,
and I've heard that we're getting a movie at some point, maybe.
I mean, even Joe said, depends on, what the executives want. So the fans want it, because
of course they want it.
We've done like Twitter things where we got Stargate trending and all that, and we've been fighting hard to get it back on the air. So, but it's a good series. It's a really good series.
And I'm not a fan of the movie, really, not at all. But I took to Atlantis like, hey, this is a good show. It's these stories are engaging. The cast is good. I mean, McKay is one of the highlights of it. I mean,
to see his character go from a geeky scientist who's a friggin' genius. I mean, who comes up with ideas to save the city on a whim, and to see his character develop over the 5 seasons, it's amazing. And David Hewlett really did that very well. He's a person who a scientist would never go out in the field and shoot guns, but yet you see Rodney actually do that and defend. Yeah. So, yeah.
And well, at first he's a little bit,
he's timid and shy and scared.
Yeah. It's like first he's like, I don't want to do that, but then he does it. And then he, like we were talking about that episode where he injected that.
The Wraith enzyme. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He injected all of it so he could just get back to the, to Atlantis. And that was like, wow, that's
after he beat those guys up and said, that's what happens when you back a brilliant scientist into the corner. He was mad because he was concerned about his team. He didn't know if they were alive or dead or what. So he went from being a loner to having a small family that he cared for.
Right.
And that's major he wasn't growth.
Like, I remember like when they were doing the tapes to, send home.
Yeah.
He acted like, oh, I don't have anybody,
Right.
And then he was taking all this time to make it right, make it perfect. And like, okay, this is how you need to edit it. It's like, but he obviously, like, him and his sister didn't have a real good relationship. You find that later.
Yeah.
Spoilers. That they don't have such a good relationship.
And then really sister in real life, so.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yep. I thought it was funny when there was another another McKay, and she liked him better.
Rod.
Yeah.
That was great.
They all liked Rod better.
Yeah, I mean, he did great playing that, playing Rodney how you normally see him, and then you see this laid back Rod character, Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show. It really is. It's a very, very good show. It's very underrated. I mean, don't, if you didn't like the movie, it's okay. Stargate Atlantis is better than the movie, in my opinion. I never liked the movie. So, it's got something. Stargate has something for everybody. If you want to start with, and I started with Atlantis. I haven't watched SG-1. And I have no problem picking up what's, like they bring characters from SG-1, just recently I watched one with Richard Dean Anderson in it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So yeah, it's a good show. Y'all should watch it. Y'all should, watch it, and we'll do a stream when I'm done, and we'll talk about our favorite episodes.
Yeah, definitely.
So we had some sad news this week. And normally I don't do a whole section about somebody that passed away, but recently, the last few years, I really got into Dark Shadows and watched all 1,200 and so episodes, and so yeah, that was a feat. And one of my favorite characters recently died at 84, Laura Parker, who played Angelique Bouchard. And she was the witch that was always she was the witch that actually turned Barnabas Collins into a vampire. Yeah. And and I was thinking to myself, like I always when I watched it was thinking, Laura Parker was an absolutely beautiful woman. And so I remember watching it, having this funny thought that, what is wrong with Barnabas Collins? She's an absolutely beautiful woman. It's like, why is he rejecting her? But I always thought that was really funny. It was like, Josette's okay, but Angelique what's wrong with you, Barnabas? What's wrong? Something wrong with your brain. But yeah, she passed away sadly, and she was still doing Big Finish, which if you haven't listened to Dark Shadows on Big Finish, do so. It's all on Spotify.
Okay.
Pretty much. I found a link, and you can listen to the Big Finish audios on there, and they're really good. And she was doing it up until she passed away, apparently. So it's not really sad though.
Yeah.
And I know recently you just started kind of watching it.
Yeah. We haven't watched much. It's just so chaotic here.
Oh, I know.
But probably as the winter months roll in and we have more time, definitely I want to get back into it. I need to know what happens next.
Yeah, it is quite an undertaking, and I think sometimes you see 1,200 plus episodes, you're thinking, I don't know about this. The only reason why I got through it is I had a job that I could work and watch stuff, and so I would put Dark Shadows on and do my work every day, and it became kind of my everyday 8 hours working, watching Dark Shadows. So 8 hours, you can get quite a few episodes.
Okay.
So that's how I did it. And but it's an amazing show, and again, I've talked about how much I love it. It's probably one of my favorite shows other than Doctor Who.
Okay.
And it's but yeah, I was really sad to see that she passed away, and she was still like doing audios, and I think most of the cast is. They still, obviously Jonathan Frid didn't do very many, but he passed away in 2010, I believe. So yeah, all the greats are leaving us, and I just wanted to kind of touch on her impact. And I'm surprised Gary doesn't see this picture and go, "It's Michelle Pfeiffer." And they were actually in the Dark Shadows movie that Tim Burton made, which it's terrible. But they were actually Jonathan Frid, Laura Parker, and there's David Selby, and Catherine Leigh Scott in the back on the left. Was invited to be a part of the party scene there, which was, I'm sure, very nice. But they probably saw the movie and went, but it was nice to see them. That was the best part of the show, to be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to like mention that because I know a lot of people. I know she was older, but it was kind of one of those things I just didn't see coming. You know, I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
So here's an article that I ran across. Netflix being trolled by Blockbuster for hilarious reason. And that reason is Netflix has decided they're going to open up brick and mortar stores. Which I don't know why.
Yeah, well, really, why?
So here's why. So Netflix announced that it was going to move forward with the opening of a physical location for fans to visit, Blockbuster and Redbox, and gave them some hot takes on X. And I don't like calling Twitter X, but there it is.
Yeah.
In their post, Blockbuster wrote, "Oh boy, should we tell Netflix how this ends?" Poking fun at themselves while also calling out Netflix for their not so brilliant idea. Blockbuster comment referred to their reign as the #1 video rental store before streamers took over, leaving the business irrelevant. Getting in on the fun, Redbox also commented on the post, quoting a Taylor Swift lyric that aptly fit the situation. No Taylor Swift lyric aptly describes the situation. I don't care. That's crazy talk. I think I think I've seen this film before. The DVD rental company wrote on Blockbuster's post. That's a Taylor Swift reference. Haven't people said that before Taylor Swift wrote it in a song? I don't know.
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, so.
No, I'm not either. Netflix plans for a brick and mortar store may seem both silly and unnecessary. The streaming company has way bigger plans on becoming the new version of Blockbuster. After all, the end of September saw the end of Netflix DVD email program, the building block that would turn the company into the mega business that is today. So basically, they have bigger plans. They want to make it's an experience. It's like an immersive experience when they visit their stores, planning to drive up consumerism by way of clothing stores, live entertainment, and restaurants. That's a bar. That's a restaurant. What does that have to do with, I guess they'll do it's like in a theme, like Stranger Things or Squid Game. So they can, where subscribers can get up close and personal with their favorite shows and characters, is a genius idea. Beyond that, while the final design is unlikely to include Blockbuster-like rentals, I guarantee it's going to contain some Netflix stuff. There will also certainly be some sort of DVD or film purchasing option. See, that's what, when you really sit and think about it, the possibilities for a chain of brick and mortar Netflix stores are endless. Audience are currently eating up the latest Mike Flanagan series, The Fall of House of Usher, with plenty of other spooky tales from the Jump Scared King available on the platform. While the company is also known for the terrific true crime dramas, favorite shows like the aforementioned Squid Game and Stranger Things, and sci-fi films like The Expanding World of Bird Box and Jack Snyder's upcoming film Rebel Moon. With all this in mind, Netflix fans are in for a whole lot of more than Blockbuster has ever been able to offer. So I don't know. What does everyone think about that?
I just assume stream. I don't care to go into DVD stores anymore. If I'm going to get DVDs, I'm going to purchase them because
online.
I'm collecting them. Yeah. I mean,
there's not many Netflix shows released to DVD, I don't believe. So my thought is they're going to do they'll have an area where you can buy merchandise, like Stranger Things merchandise. And figures and stuff. And then they'll have a restaurant, maybe a bar, that might be cool. It might be somewhere to go check out. But I just don't see that really working. I mean, you have enough people, you have a hard time getting people in the movie theater.
Yeah. I mean, a movie now is almost $20 just to see, depending on what it is, and I couldn't imagine what drinks would be like there, or even appetizers.
Oh yeah. And even they're saying you bought a Stranger Things figure or a Funko Pop, they're going to charge you more than you would. You're going to go online and buy it directly from Entertainment Earth or Funko Store, or what. They're going to charge you more.
Exactly,
because they're out about making money. But I just don't really think that this is it's a real good idea to is to have a brick and mortar store for Netflix. But I could be wrong.
Okay, you know what? If they're going to do that, then they need to lower the streaming price for us.
Yep.
Yeah,
because they're making plenty of money off these stores.
Oh, right. I mean,
no commercials.
I'll tell you what, Netflix.
And no commercials. No commercials.
Yeah, Netflix, bring out some good content.
Yeah.
And I don't mind paying for the price.
Right.
And I mean, some of the stuff is okay. It's watchable, but it's not, you're not bringing out Stranger Things with your original content every time. You're just not doing that. So here's another article that I thought was interesting is John Carpenter speaks on latest Blumhouse reboot. I don't understand how you can screw that up. So what he's talking about is The Exorcist Believer, which is getting annihilated from the critics and audiences alike. And it's not surprisingly because they screwed it up. They want to bring in diversity in it. They want to okay, we can't just have one possessed girl. We got to have two. We got to make sure one of them's black. They got to make sure they get that in there.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And look, that's fine. Obviously any race of people can be possessed. I get it. But it's an obvious, it's obvious what you're doing. It's obvious. And when people see that, and I've heard just the show's just not, the actors they got aren't very good. Ellen Burstyn is the highlight. But anyway, he's basically, he doesn't understand how can you mess that up? Well, welcome to 2023, Carpenter.
Yeah, really.
If it can be messed up, the studios today will mess it up. The studios and the writers that they hire and the directors are going to mess it up. So he didn't understand why it was so bad because apparently David did when he made the 3 Halloweens. Because obviously the same person that did the Halloweens, which I heard were horrible. He says, I heard The Exorcist really didn't cut it. That could be a kick-ass movie. I don't understand how you can screw that up. Well, because not everyone is like you, John. Not everybody has a vision. Everybody, you got people with woke ideology. I mean, it's not hard, John, to figure that out. It's how can you screw this up? It's 2023. It's if it can be screwed up, it will be screwed up. So yeah, I just think they need to leave it alone. Stop messing with stuff. Stop making reboots, sequels for things that you don't have the same grasp as the people back in the day that did it. You
Exactly.
can't, they don't have any kind of atmosphere in the show. It's not like the original. If you can't make it like the original, just don't. How about that? That's the rule.
Exactly.
Don't make it. So, Retro Doc says they should have made this a musical and called it The Exorcist Daydream Believer.
Case in point. Doctor Who before Jodie. Doctor Who with Jodie.
I don't know how he questions how this could be messed up because, dude, I don't know where you're living. I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you aren't watching most of these shows, and also the Halloween movies were not good. I heard, so it makes me question your integrity when you say something like that, man. Let me guess. The demons will all be Hugh white men. The exorcist will be female priests, possibly lesbian. No, I heard this is what I heard, and we'll move on. But I heard that basically they brought in at the end exorcism a priest, an atheist, and some other kind of shaman. I heard that. I don't know if that's anyone's seen the movie. Please, anyone that's subjected themselves to this shit movie, please leave it in the comments or leave it in the chat. If you've seen it, does it end that way? Because that's what I heard.
Wow.
That's what
I don't think
read.
the atheist is going to have a leg to stand on. I mean, the demon would probably jump into the
shaman.
atheist.
The shaman either, because the shaman don't know what they're playing with. Because the shaman's been playing with evil stuff, and they don't. The shaman should be there because the shaman's already playing with evil shit. Because in my opinion, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
The shaman, if you're talking to other spirits and you're playing with evil, period.
Wow.
I don't know. I heard that she was in a scene. I don't know. There was talk of her. I don't know if she was in the show, but Ellen Burstyn's in. They must have paid her a shitload of money. And they say she was wasted in the movie, which shocker. So House of the Dragon's coming back.
Okay.
So, I know you're a fan.
Yep, I need to finish it. Actually, I stopped watching about
All right.
I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes in or whatever.
All right. So I'll tell you what, we'll save this for another time because I think there's spoilers. I'm not gonna do that to you.
Spoilers don't bother me.
But I will tell you this: it doesn't have a release date, but the show is set for summer 2024 return. So by summer, we should get series 2. So you have plenty of time to catch up.
Oh yeah.
And maybe when you catch up, we'll do a stream talking about the House of the Dragon, because I think personally, it is definitely a great show, way better than Game of Thrones was, in my opinion.
I'm gonna have to start it over because it's been a while, but we just recently got Max back, so I'll be able to start that and finish it. So
I think we're gonna just end the presentation there, because I don't want to give anything else away, and Michelle has to be somewhere at 1:30, so we're just gonna spend this time just to kind of just chill and chat for the next 10 minutes, and then we're gonna shut it down.
I saw Archer has said, I got to go back up and find it in the chat, that Big Finish has done Stargate novels too.
Yes, I meant to tell you that the other day. I did see that.
Yeah, Stargate audios. I'm gonna have to look for them now. It's like, damn. So I know currently I've got an Audible membership, and we're listening to the Chronicles of Narnia now, and that's a great series of books. That's an amazing series. We're on the line.
I've never read them, and that's, you think I would have by now, but I've never got around to reading them.
It's good. It's a good series.
I've heard that.
I've listened to The Art of War. That's pretty interesting. What else have I listened to? Sherlock Holmes and Mary Russell series of books. The author's got little shorts in there, and I've listened to those. I've got some manga books to read. That's what I'm reading right now. So when I get time.
I think the last Dark Shadows Big Finish that I listened to, one of them had Nicole O'Brien in it from Doctor Who. And then one before that had Louise Jameson in it.
Okay.
And I still haven't got to. There's one that I'm gonna get into pretty soon. It's on the list, is the Colin Baker one. So a lot of the Doctor Who, like I guess voice artist or actor are in on the Dark Shadows Big Finish, which is kind of cool.
That is neat.
It is.
I do listen to some of the books through our library or Hoopla. I listen to some Doctor Who stories, and I love that they're dramatized and everything. So,
yeah. It's probably it's the Big Finish ones, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Like 2 hours long or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Some are longer, depends on which ones they are. But I used to listen to all of those at work, and Spotify has a bunch of free ones too.
Yeah,
I've gone through all of those.
Yeah, I love listening to Paul. I'm still trying to find 1984 with Peter reading it, but
oh yeah, I saw that you wanted to. Yeah.
I mean,
maybe eventually they'll release it over here.
It would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice if you just had access to all that stuff. Like you were saying.
Yeah, why don't they? It's the World Wide Web. So what? We have to pay a little more, and we're willing to buy it versus other means. Why can't we buy it?
I also think that, and we've talked about this, I think Big Finish should have like a streaming service.
Yeah, I would subscribe for sure.
Yeah. I mean, just the ones the latest, maybe don't release those yet on the streaming, but have some of the older ones on their streaming service, and you pay a fee, and you can listen to as many as you want, commercial free. And I mean, I have a subscription to Spotify, so I don't hear any commercials or any ads.
Yeah, same.
So,
now with Audible, I have a subscription to Audible, and I get the 1 credit a month. And so you can get 1 book a month. You can buy it that way. But you can still have access to their library, and they have a lot of free stuff to listen to. So I've gone and made a list, and, I'm listening to those little by little.
yeah.
So,
I mean, I've been into more audio. I did decide that I started, I'd watched some of it when it was on, but I didn't see every episode, but like the 90s Outer Limits. So I started watching that again, just kind of in between watching Stargate and going through my 15th billion rewatch of Supernatural, just to keep it interesting.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of getting back into more into Stargate because I take breaks from shows because like after a certain period, you're just like, okay, I can't watch one more episode. I'm tired.
Yep. I get it.
So it helps break out the monotony and then you go back to the other show and you're like, oh, it's fresh. So I'm kind of in between Outer Limits and Stargate Atlantis right now. And I did binge The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. And like I said, the characters in that show are so insufferable and so woke that I enjoyed every single death. That in a very Poe way, but it was so cool. Like, for like the pit and the pendulum, make that of what you will. The black cat and things like that. They have, it's not quite like Edgar Allan Poe because they just loosely is the right term. It's loosely based on Edgar Allan Poe stories. But this family is the most insufferable woke leftist assholes I've ever seen. And I don't feel sorry for any of them. And I enjoyed every death. That's horrible, but I did.
I'm personally waiting for season 2 of Wednesday to come out.
Yeah, I heard that it's on its way. Of course, there's going to be people that's going to say it's going to be woke, but you just have to watch it and see. And
I mean, you would think it would be out now because Halloween, because it fits the theme. But so.
Windology is sad because Jensen, Misha, and Jared from Supernatural all here in the UK at the moment. Why are you at home, girl? At the moment, I know they're pricey. I get it. I know how much they cost.
Yeah.
Attending various cons, Jensen, Misha's in Liverpool. Yeah, I hope you get to go soon. I really do. I got to go. I didn't get pictures. One time I could afford it and I just didn't want to. I don't know why. But honestly, the cons are fun without even taking a picture. The panels are a lot of fun. And a lot of times the general admission is not too bad.
Right.
I mean, just to go listen to a panel, it's not too bad. It's what costs you is the photos and all that stuff. But I still wish I would have done it. I really do. And one day I'll do it. But when they ever come back to Houston, but creation that they do the cons, they charge so much.
They do.
Yeah, you're right. Windology is too expensive. Doing travel costs. Yeah, because you have to travel. Now, if they came to Wales, I would tell you, go girl, go. Do what you have to do, go. Put it on a credit card. Do what you have to do. Because they're so much fun. And actually, at the con that she's talking about, a lot of them, like on a Friday night, even if you pay a general admission ticket, you get a Friday night where you can go on Friday night and they have like a karaoke concert.
Okay.
So I'm telling you if you ever get to go, because it is an experience.
It is.
And even if you can't afford photo ops, just go,
You see amazing costumes and you can still take pictures of the actors.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I took video. I have video and I took pictures of the car and it was fun. I went twice. So, and either time one time I could afford the photo op and I couldn't bring myself to spend $100 just stand there for them for like 30 seconds. But now I wish I would have. If it would have been Peter Capaldi, I would have done it.
Yeah. It'd be nice if he came back to the States and did that here.
Well, they have like Austin. I just don't really want to drive 3 hours for a con. I know that sounds terrible, but I don't want to get in a car and stay in the car for 3 hours to go to and spend money on a con and then have 3 hours back. It's, they never do any interesting cons for Houston.
Yeah.
It's all just people I don't care about usually. They have them, but it's never like the main actors. It's like I think William Shatner came to one of ours.
Wow.
But I didn't go.
Yeah, and I mean he's getting up there in age. That's going to be a sad day when he walks out of here.
It was like Tom Baker, when he goes, because he's such a legend, and it's like he's such beloved, and it's a part of a legacy that, not that Davison isn't, part of that too, but there's something about Tom Baker,
Right.
So.
Yeah,
Shatner is incredible. I read his book, and he said he keeps working because he knows if he stops working, he'll just die.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I fully understand that.
But my dad had that mentality. Was working, and he died. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
he's just I read one of his books, and he's an interesting person. He's actually a lot different than you think. Like he's a lot different than Kirk in a lot of ways.
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
Hearing William Shatner talk about doing shrooms in Amsterdam.
Yeah. I know he's an avid horse lover and he rides horses, so
yeah, he's got a heart, like his wife, his wife drowned, and he got a lot of crap for that. I remember people actually just flat out accusing him of killing his wife, which is horrible. I mean, he said he's gone through a lot of stuff,
I'm sure.
And people forget that these people have feelings. He gets a lot of crap on X, but he's funny. He's very, they need to bring him back as TJ Hooker and do what? He can't really run.
He could be the head honcho in the police station. He could do that.
Yeah, he could be a commissioner.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe. Commissioner. Couldn't think. That's the word I couldn't think of. So
last one I went to was Excel Center prior to COVID. My feet ached terribly walking around the car. Yeah, that too. I mean, we were in a hotel. It was carpeted, and it was smaller than I thought it would be. Like I expected it to be like this huge thing. It's just a hotel, and I mean, you had walked around. There had a lot of vendors and stuff, and then you had other people like selling their wares, and it was odd because people were selling jewelry and they were making like supernatural themed stuff that was obviously copyrighted, but they were allowing them to sell it, which is interesting. I was like, well, if I'd have known this, I'd have got a table because I was making that stuff at that time.
Yeah.
And there was people that made, like, and they had they have different stuff too. They didn't just have supernatural. They had Buffy stuff. They had Star Wars stuff. It was just like, I mean, they had some Doctor Who stuff. It was kind of different. It was different. Yeah. I definitely experienced, and you've probably been to many cons yourself. So
I went to one. Tracy and we went to a Star Trek convention. God, back in 2012. Yeah, it was 2012. We got to see Jonathan Frakes. Tracy got his sister an autograph from him, and Tracy told him, he said, I bet you won't do this. My sister wants you to sign it, to Christina, all my love, Jonathan. Don't you know that man actually did that for her? And she's got that thing framed.
I'm sure she does. She does.
But we met him, John Delancey, which
I heard.
Just like his character.
Let's see, Geordie, Nichelle Nichols, George Takei. So
Deanna Troy.
Yeah, Deanna Troy was there.
Action figure.
Was it 7 of 9?
Tell her about the action figure.
Oh, the action figures. Yeah, yes. Remember the Star Trek Next Generation action figures?
Yeah.
My brother was working at Target at the time, and he would snag all the action figures for me, and he shipped them out to me because we were in California at the time. And the Deanna Troi, it didn't have a number on her feet, so we still have it, but we carried that with us so that she could sign it. And we told her the story of how it's been cross country twice because we were in the Navy. And I said, my brother shipped it out to us. And then when we went back home, it had to ride with us in the car and everything. And she's like, that is so cool. And she didn't charge us for those autographs.
That's
because we did that, because we'd served our country. But she was we loved listening to her talk. She was very grateful for her role and everything. So,
I mean, that's good to hear. She's she can be kind of feisty on Twitter, but
yeah, now that was back then. So
yeah, that's before the woke happened.
Right.
The Riker figure becomes bendable leg so he can get in a chair. Yeah. Well, this has been fun, guys. We are going to cut it short today because
I got a shindig.
She's got a shindig, and that when it's a shindig, that means it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. So it's been great. It's been fun, but we're gonna head out now, and next week we're gonna come back and talk about our favorite spooky movies, spooky episodes of Doctor Who, or whatever spooky thing we can come up with. And in the next couple coming weeks, we're gonna do a show about our favorite 5 regenerations leading up to the 60th anniversary, which is going to premiere on, I believe, November 11th, from I'm hearing. So
yeah,
be before then. Yeah. So
Gary's like, fine then, just leave. Maybe I'll take pictures of the bodies that we have outside that are next to our retaining wall we're building.
For a minute, I was like, okay.
Oh, my son, it's a Halloween themed party shindig thing. And my son, Michael, he used these trash bags and put them up like bodies, and it looks like a mass grave.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to get some
take pictures of the bodies. Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah.
Later, guys. See you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.